A pleasant good evening to everybody. Welcome into the 71st Boone Area Chamber of Commerce annual meeting. My name is David Jackson. I'm the president and CEO of the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for bringing us into your homes and into your connected devices of choice here this evening. Ordinarily, we would have 500 of you sitting with us at the Holmes Convocation Center. We will have just finished a great meal, and we would be ready for a great evening of entertainment. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances that we're faced with during this pandemic, we're not able to do that tonight, so we're going to bring you the next best thing. Us just coming right onto your laptops and onto your smart TVs to give you an update about what is going on here at the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. We have certainly been engaged in a lot of different things here over the course of the last several months. We've tried as best we can to continue to get information out to you as we as a community respond to the challenges faced by COVID-19, but also want to keep the ball moving forward too. And that's some of what we'll share with you tonight. What are the plans that the Chamber has in place to help our community continue to rebuild and recover from the economic times that we are in? Before I go too much farther, I'd like to thank our sponsors of this event this evening. First Horizon Bank, our title sponsor this year. We're excited to have them on board. Also, Peak Insurance Group and Spangler Restoration. We thank all of these sponsors for helping us keep this event moving forward, as we have obviously had to revision things due to the times that we're in. Now, we do intend to have an in-person version of this meeting at some point in time in the future. When we can safely and responsibly have a gathering of us together, we intend to work with our friends at App Healthcare and our local health and town officials and make the safest event that we possibly can for you to come and join us inside Kidd Brewer Stadium, where we can fellowship and just be together again and celebrate the fact that our community's resilience has brought us to a point where we can indeed just be around each other one more time. Now, at that point, we'll also be handing out our annual Chamber Awards. All of those will have a COVID response theme to them, and we are awfully excited not only to add a new award to the mix, but to bring forward some of the community heroes that have helped us so much in these last few months. So we're excited to bring that to you. And again, a little bit later this fall, hopefully by mid-October, we'll be able to get that date on your calendar so you can come and join us at the Rock. Now, again, several business elements to this meeting that will look and feel a lot the same as we have presented them to you for years inside the Home Center or at Tweetsie Railroad or the various locations. So hopefully that will be informative for you to help make some plans for you and your business and your community members about how you intend to move forward here in these next several months. As we get things started here, we would like our title sponsor to have the opportunity to say a few words. So I'm going to introduce someone who really needs no introduction in this community. We're happy to have him at First Horizon Bank and certainly involved with the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jason Triplett.
David, thank you. I'd love to, of course, be able to shake your hand or do the COVID elbow or something like that. But good evening, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to join us virtually. It definitely is a unique opportunity for us. And just want to take a moment to say a few words. First and foremost, I want to thank David and the team at our Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. It has been absolutely incredible to see what they have all done for this community. For each of you that are out there that are listening tonight, for the small businesses and for the employees, it's been amazing. You know, we started Keep Boone Healthy. Katie and team have done a great job with the graphics for that. It's been incredible communication that they provided to each of us. It's been numerous informational sessions to help the small business community, where it was information on the payroll protection program, or whether it was, how to reopen safely, and of course, things that they've done to encourage the 3 W's and provide guidance for COVID-19. So we couldn't be more thankful to the chamber staff and for what they've done for our team. I also want to take a minute and thank David Steele for his incredible leadership through this time and over the last year as our chair. We really appreciate what David's done for our board. And I want to thank Scott Elliott, Dr. Scott Elliott, for stepping up and being our chair this year. We know we're going to do tremendous things together. So next, I want to show a quick video real quick on First Horizon.
In life, challenges can confront you, and the climb can be steep, leaving you to wonder how you'll ever find the strength. Make your climb with First Horizon Bank. We've got your back with a deeper understanding of you, your path, and your resolve to rise above. First Horizon Bank, understanding runs deep.
So it is First Horizon's honor to be the title sponsor tonight for the annual Chamber of Commerce meeting, and it's our honor to partner with them. And so as you look at that video and think about understanding in action, that's what is the element of First Horizon, and what we try to do and strive with our customers and with our prospects that we talk to is to understand what's going on in their business and to really provide solutions to help. And one of the ways that we've done tremendous work to provide help is through the Payroll Protection Program. So as a corporation, we provided $4.2 billion in PPP loans to date. We've taken applications throughout the multiple PPP funding rounds. I can say that not every bank was able to do that, and I'm proud to say First Horizon was. We provided consistent communication, and as you can see, we also provided a website here that if you want to click and go to that, you can learn additional information on the PPP program. From a local standpoint, I am so proud to say that First Horizon stepped up and helped 500 businesses in the Northwest North Carolina community for $53.1 million. That was an average loan size of $106,000. And we also provided additional guidance in a seminar that we partnered with on a Zoom call with the Chamber, and of course have provided consistent communication. So it's been an honor to help help businesses to keep their employees employed and to help them through some challenging times with COVID. In addition to that, we also have consistently provided, and we're excited to say that we've provided over $250,000 in grants over the last 3 years in Western North Carolina, and specifically provided $50,000 in specific COVID-19 grants to help in the last 3 months to nonprofit organizations that were assisting with emergency services such as food and health and secure homes and other things like that, to really provide an additional funding source when they desperately needed that assistance. We're also excited to talk a little bit about Operation Hope. In Hickory, we opened in June 2019 an Operation Hope location. I provided the website there so you can learn about additional information there, but we're already partnering with the High Country United Way and the Watauga Habitat for Humanity to provide financial counseling free of charge to help folks to improve their credit so that they can have access to the proper funding that they might need. And overall, at corporation-wide, we've been able to provide over $100 million in total grants awarded since the First Horizon Foundation was inception. So the other exciting thing that's happened, effective July 1st, we actually did a merger of equals with Iberia Bank, and excited to see where we're going with this. And so First Horizon has expanded. We're now a $79 billion bank with $60 billion in deposits. $58 billion in loans, over 288 years of combined service. Actually, First Horizon was founded when Abraham Lincoln was president. So we're excited about our tenure as a corporation to help our communities. And we now have about 8,400 associates. And then when you look at this, this shows a footprint of all the branches that we have, including our recent SunTrust acquisition of branches in Winston-Salem area. We're now the third or fourth largest bank in that area, and we're one of the top banks actually in Northwest North Carolina because of our history going back to Bank of Granite and Community One in those markets. So, but size doesn't matter. What really matters is that we really want to understand and we really want to partner with our clients, and so we thank you for the opportunity to serve each of you. So in summary, I just want to again say thank you to our small business owners. Thank you for your perseverance. Thank you for keeping Boone healthy. Thank you for showing your love for our community and doing the 3 W's. As you think about that video, that young lady that was climbing up that rope, we are climbing a rope right now, and it was hard for her. She had to get the courage and the strength to be able to get up that rope. And you know what? She made it. And I want to assure each of you, together as a community, we will get up the rope. We will beat COVID because this is a community that thrives when we come together. Thank you for keeping Boone healthy. Thank you for showing your love. Thank you, David.
Thank you very much, Jason, for those words of encouragement. And it's great to have First Horizon as a partner in this event for the years to come. Our next guest appearing on stage has been our leader of the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce for the last year. I don't think that I properly stated to David Still when he took the position as chair that he would have to do some of the things that he's had to help us with this year. When you are working with a nonprofit board, everybody that's on that board has another responsibility. They have other jobs, they have family commitments, they have things. Anytime that we picked up the phone, especially during the COVID response, and called David Still, he was there to listen to us vent, to provide support, to provide direction, or to try to make sense of the absolute flood of information that we were receiving and how best to get that to you and to the rest of our community at the same time. So I cannot thank David enough. I know our staff feels the same way. Here tonight to give his final thoughts in his last act as chair, please welcome David Still.
Good evening. Thank you, David, for the kind remarks. It was very nice of you. It's my pleasure to serve and just feel honored to be able to have the opportunity and to help the Chamber and the business community as well. I'll start this conversation this evening like I start conversations most times. What a year it has been. Though a lot of that has to do with the last 5 months, you should be proud of what the Chamber has accomplished since the last annual meeting a year ago. So here's a story. You got to bear with me. There's a moral to the story, but it's a little unorthodox how we're going to get there. Here we go. Each evening, when my 3.5-year-old son gets home from daycare, gets done playing outside, it's time for dinner, he has to take his shoes off in the garage. The same rule, however, does not apply to his 6-year-old sister. You see, she doesn't think that you're supposed to fill up your shoes with dirt all throughout the day when you're playing outside. So she gets a pass. It's just my son. So we go through the motions, and after dinner, I'm picking up around the garage, and I go to shake the dirt out of his shoes, which is essentially a daily occasion unless if it rains all day. And this time around, I'm guessing maybe it's been a few days since I last shook the dirt out of the shoes. So get the shoes, I turn them upside down, I hold them over to the trash can in the garage, and I start shaking, and you hear the dirt coming out, you see the dirt flying out. It's about like normal, maybe a little extra, and I keep shaking, and it's just pouring out, landing in the trash. And it keeps coming, so I keep clapping. Somewhere in here, I'm about 100, 150 claps in, I don't know, my hands are getting tired. It's ridiculous either way, there's a ton of dirt in his shoes. So I look inside to inspect the shoe, and I don't see any dirt. I clap it a few more times, and dirt's still falling out. I'm a good dad, and I don't want my son's feet to hurt, but I gotta draw the line in the sand somewhere. But yet, even on that last clap, there was still more to give. So, all the parents can relate to this story, and that's the end of the story. But let me see if I can bring this home and not leave you thinking the Chamber is like your kid's shoes filled with dirt, or I'm in trouble. Here's what the Chamber has been like the last year. And in this narrative, I'm excluding the incredible, downright phenomenal amount of work that the Chamber has put together in the last 5 months. That comes later. So the staff and board of directors have been ever present, pouring out their time and talents, supporting area businesses in the last year. From revamping the Watauga Leadership Challenge, making it and expanding it to the Watauga Leadership Institute, from adding new Chamber staff and retooling existing staff's positions to better serve the Chamber's mission, from energizing behind-the-scene conversations around staking our claim to supporting entrepreneurs and established companies through the Boone Business Exchange. The moral of the story is not, the more you shake the Chamber, the more you get. It's how the Chamber is constantly pouring its resources into you. And somehow, through all of that, there's still more. A defining initiative of the Chamber staff and the board in the last year was to revisit a dated strategic plan and evaluate who we want to be and the values that inform our work. The revisioning of this plan could not have come at a better time, except for maybe a couple of months earlier. You see, the process started with a planning retreat in December to brainstorm the desired outcome and to identify key stakeholders from chamber staff, board officers, board members, and chamber members at large. From there, 3 focus groups were identified, and each group met individually to internalize the organization's strengths and weaknesses and externalize opportunities for improvement based on the group's ideas of what the chamber should be doing. As you can imagine, there were lots of opinions in those 3 groups, which was the point. And the differing perspectives played a vital role in the final document. The next step was to gather the staff and executive board to filter the results and find common interest. The planning process was pacing well. Into late winter, it looked like we would hit our time frame of presenting the strategic framework to the chamber board retreat in July. We were feeling pretty good. Then March rolled around, and we had to put the process on hold for really a couple of months. But fortunately, the nuts and bolts of this guiding document were cohesive enough to be deployed as the chamber navigated through the onset of COVID-19. So David Jackson is going to discuss the finer details of the strategic framework and how it shapes the chamber's support of the entire community. But the principles have been in action for months, guiding the chamber's response to the pandemic.
All right. So what we did to start this process is we engaged Dr. Jim Street at Ridgeline Leadership. And a number of you know Dr. Street. He's been involved in strategic planning. He's heavily involved in the Watauga Leadership Institute. And we wanted his take on our process. So, we said, Dr. Street, we want to do a strategic plan. And he said, it's a strategic framework. So this is the strategic framework that we have come up with. First, we wanted to revisit the mission and the vision of the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce and really think about operationally, how can this document guide us for the next 3 to 5 years? So that mission statement that we came up with was to connect the business and community partners to enhance opportunities through advocacy, education, and support continued sustainable economic development within our region. You have heard us talk for the last several years about connect, advocate, educate. We wanted to make sure that those words were visible right out of the gate, right in that mission statement to help define what it is our organization's about. From a vision perspective, the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce is the catalyst for a diverse and engaged local economy, cultivating a thriving community that serves as the economic hub of Northwest North Carolina. We know that this area is so important to the economic success of the counties around us. Not everyone knows the borders like we do. When visitors come to our area, they don't realize that if you stay in a hotel in Boone and go to Grandfather Mountain, that you have switched counties to do so. We know those things, but our visitors and those who come and play and work and thrive in our community don't necessarily. So we wanted to make sure that we are thinking regionally in our approach and not just about one town or one area. We've got core values that we wanted to establish as a staff, and that was something that Dr. Street really hammered into us, is before you can get into the strategic framework process, you have to be clear about who you are as an organization first. So I won't read all of the paragraphs. You are more than capable of reading along with us, and if you want to visit boonechamber.com/about us, you will find all of these documents and all of this verbiage at that address from now forward. But we strive to make sure that accountability, dedication to quality and outlasting customer service, advocacy, relationship building, and ultimately success are what our staff is striving to do each and every day internally to make sure that externally we are helping our businesses to succeed. I do want to read one part of this. Under the success bullet, it says our own success is based on our results. And that means the results of our business community thriving, that's how we're going to judge ourselves. If we are successful in implementing this strategic framework, all of you will hopefully be well on the rebound from what we have seen through COVID-19. Now, to go through this strategic framework, we want to talk around each one of these bullet points. So this is kind of what we came up with: operational excellence, advocacy, connection, education, and community, and all of those things feeding into one another. So as we talk about operational excellence, this is really making sure that the chamber functions as an entity as efficiently as possible, and we're able to take new staff, current staff, and what we aspire to have as future team members, and really make sure that everybody is cohesive in how we're operating the organization, but that those that look at us from the outside see us as a well-tuned machine. So we want to emphasize with that our own chamber board development. I mentioned we're a nonprofit organization, a 501c6. We thrive on our board members' interaction with us. And we'll talk more about the board here in a little bit, but we want to make sure that we're not just bringing people into that conversation. They're coming into a conversation with great ideas, great insight into our community, and they will make the organization better by the way that we are able to interact with them during their time with us. We wanted to clarify staff roles and responsibilities to align the priorities of the strategic framework and to increase efficiencies within the office. This was all brought along at the same time that Katie Green joined our staff. And we brought another professional into the office with a very specific skill set that we wanted to make sure we could position appropriately. So with that gave us the opportunity to take some of the many things that Wisteria White was doing on a daily basis and shift some of those to Katie and give Wisteria a new room to grow as she takes over really the membership investment side of what we're looking at, as well as the event management side of what is an increasing growing number of events, when we can actually have them. We wanted to define and operationalize professionalism to create an environment that encourages passionate, proficient chamber team members. And that mainly means we want to make sure that everything that we're doing leads into the next thing, that we don't have those hanging projects or hanging ideas out there. We want to create a funnel where all of that stuff can be efficiently placed on the radar, so to speak, but that staff members feel encouraged to make sure that their ideas are heard on a daily basis, whether you're the intern from App State or whether you're the board chair. Everybody's input is encouraged, and we wanted to make sure that was a defining piece of this strategic framework. To evaluate our use of technology, that has certainly been important in the last 5 months or so as we have deployed new things to get information out to you. To create a sustainable budgeting process. That has also been incredibly important and also a huge challenge in uncertain economic times. So spending more time thinking about how we're actually funding the organization, knowing that we don't get big tax revenues or anything like that. We thrive off of your membership investment, and we thrive off the sponsorship opportunities like First Horizon has brought to us tonight. That's how our organization succeeds. And we want to make sure that as we are thinking about our growth moving forward, that we're growing in all of those areas to help us from a financial standpoint. And then utilize available tools to effectively track member communication and activities. We want to make sure that when we are reaching out to you, we have some understanding that you are getting the message. We also want to see that those of you that are interacting with us on a fairly frequent schedule are engaged to do more with us. And that's where maybe we see that you continue to come to event after event and we say, hey, have you ever thought about a time on a committee or maybe being part of our board of directors? So we want to be a little bit more intentional with how we track that kind of thing. As we look at our advocacy, this has been a huge piece of growth for the chamber for the last several years, and these 8 bullet points will really help solidify where we're going with that. Serve as the regional leader in business advocacy for leading important conversations that will move our region forward. That certainly starts with cultivating relationships and leading important conversations with those key stakeholders. The strategic framework planning process, in a sense, was the first start to that, where we engaged people that, quite honestly, have been very involved with us, and some that we hardly ever see. We wanted as many perspectives in that room as we possibly could have to start this process. And we will continue to do that, not only locally, but thinking regionally as well. Who are some of those partners outside of the Watauga County borders that can help our organization grow and thus our business community grow at the same time? Support and guide the business community in their individual advocacy efforts. We know that sometimes you come to our door and say, help me get a message out. I need to tell people about something that my business does that only I can can do, and I just need that help getting it out. We want to be able to help coach you through that and understand how to advocate for yourselves. We also need to define where the limits to our advocacy end. The chamber is a lot of things. We have tried to be a lot of things for a lot of folks in these last few months especially, but we can't necessarily be the one to deliver the message home. We can put the dirt in the shoes, but sometimes you've got to shake it out. And we want to make sure that what we are doing is properly setting those boundaries so we can hand off the baton to you and you can carry your message home in a positive way. We want to positively impact regional, state, and federal issues relevant to our business community. Not everything that impacts us is decided inside Watauga County. Maybe that's the way it used to be. It's quite honestly not anymore. So we want to make sure that we have those relationships, not necessarily just with politicians either, but some of the people that are actually the working energy behind important policy decisions, important things that affect how our community is funded, how opportunities come to us in the all various age ranges and brackets that we see here in our area. And most importantly, we want to have great relationships with those people. So when it comes time to discuss where to bring that next big pot of resources, they say, hey, let's call the chamber over in Watauga County. We know they can help us out. We want to continue to work toward community-wide infrastructure improvements. Anybody that's driven around on any of our roads when Appalachian State students are back and full, like they will soon be, knows that sometimes we have a traffic problem. We want to make sure not only we're helping to bring positive flow to the conversation on that, but we're also working on thinking about other infrastructure improvements, such as the expansion of broadband in our areas when we know that our school system is going to need kids at home here for a little while longer. What are we doing to drive the conversation about making broadband a utility in Northwest North Carolina? It's time to have that conversation, and we want to make sure that we're in front of the right people to do that. We want to celebrate and encourage entrepreneurial efforts in our community and identify opportunities to support growth, drive initiatives, and promote community collaboration. The great news here is that we have a lot of support in this, whether it's Eric Schlinker in the Transportation Insight Center for Entrepreneurship, the fine folks over at Caldwell Community College and Technical Institute, the CTE program through Watauga County Schools. There are a number of people that are providing that energy to help people get their own business plans off their feet. We can be a conduit to make sure that they get in front of the right folks, and we can also be one of those information sources to help make sure that they're starting their business in a sustainable way. We want to engage candidates and connect with current government officials to foster a pro-business agenda. We want to make sure that when we have our candidate forum in October, that the interests of the business community are being brought to those candidates and their ideas and their concerns and the things that are keeping people up at night at a time where it seems like we've all been up for several nights in a row. We want to make sure that the candidates that are running for office representing our area and representing our state understand what's on your mind, and we'll continue to develop their relationships to get that out no matter who sits in the chair from what party they represent. Effectively communicate our public policy efforts to increase growth in grassroots participation. Quite simply put, if you've got an idea and you're passionate about it, we want to help you connect that passion and energy into real change in our community, and we're eager and excited to continue to do that. As we move on, looking at enhancing value to members through connecting members of our chamber to each other and the resources and opportunities that will help members succeed. The chamber has been a connection point for many of you for a long, long time. Now, we are not able right now to do some of those traditional things like our business after hours, which we had one of the most successful ones we ever had in February, and then we have had to cancel the rest of them since then due to COVID. Now, we are excited to remind you that we are going to pick up that schedule right where we left off, hopefully in March of 2021, and start with our friends at Skyline SkyBest and Appalachian State Athletics and just run through the schedule like we had it in 2020. So we're going to get a chance to visit all those businesses. But we know that there are opportunities for you to connect at those events, and we want to bring more opportunities for that, especially as we are in the rebuilding effort. And through that, examining new and innovative platforms for member communications. That's important now. One of the things that Wisteria White has been doing is surveying chambers and nonprofit organizations all throughout the country to see how people are connecting through virtual means, through small groups, and through just simply phone calls and reaching out and saying, hey, how are you doing? That's one of the things that Susan Norris and Janine Collins have been doing so well, is just reaching out to members and finding ways to connect. That can be in a simple one-on-one, it can be in a broader way, and we want to make sure that no stone is left unturned in that process. We want to effectively communicate the value and benefits to membership, telling the story of our organization, our members, and our business community, enabling members to become our best advocates. We also want to tell your stories too, and that's one of the things that COVID-19 has afforded us, is a lot of outside eyes looking in on our community to see how it is we're doing things. That's the way we're able to tell the story of the Boone Shine brisket and the viral Instagram posts that helped them develop a new following of folks. The food box program at Kindly Kitchen, a combination of resources within a business that was able to turn around an entire business model for a family here. The growth of the High Country Food Hub was another great story we got to tell, and so many of those things. We want to make sure that you know about us and the benefits that you get, the things like WJ Office City discounts and special programs and your first benefits insurance. But we also want to make sure too that you are communicating back to us the things that we can go and say, hey, this cool story is going on in Boone, North Carolina, in Watauga County, in the High Country, and these kinds of businesses and these kinds of folks are what make our place better than any other in the state. So we encourage that dialogue with us. We want to place emphasis on personal chamber member relationships, identifying, maximizing, and increasing those touch points. That's where those phone calls became so valuable to us. You probably got one of them from Susan Norris, from Janine Underdown Collins, from Wisteria White, somebody in our office just hopefully reaching out to you back in the spring and saying, hey, how are you doing? Those weren't just members that we called either. We called a lot of non-members just to check in and make sure that people had connections to the resources that we knew were out there for them. That became incredibly important during the rollout of the payroll protection plan and several other things during the course of the spring. And we saw success with that. We want to continue that as a standard operating procedure moving forward. And then finally here in Connections, strengthen the onboarding and orientation process for new members. What we don't want to do is have you invest money with us and your hard-earned resources with us and sign on the dotted line, get your sticker, put it in the window, and never hear from us again. We want to make sure that you're maximizing your benefits, you're maximizing your relationship with the chamber, and we'll make sure that you know all of those things as you get the relationship started. We want to build off success of providing excellent educational opportunities that will provide chamber members with the knowledge, strategies, and tools to support their success. A lot of you utilize Watauga Leadership Institute for business and professional development. We want to make sure that that's something that can continue and that we can continue to answer the questions that we get, not only from businesses, but let's talk about the single proprietors that still need that same level of professional development, but may not necessarily have the time in their day to dedicate to a 6-month program for leadership development. So we're working with Dr. Jim Street and Ridgeline Leadership to assess some of the program offerings that we've got and figure out a better way to deliver those to you. Constantly evaluating the business community landscape to identify educational programs that make sense for businesses. Continually evaluating and strengthening existing learning opportunities with Watauga Leadership Institute. And let's not forget our Lunch and Learn series and here more recently some of the digital forums that we have brought to you in so many unique ways. We want to make sure that we're staying on the cutting edge of that information. We want to work with our local education partners and utilize their expertise in enhancing connections within the business community. Again, I mentioned the CTE program at Watauga High a little while ago. We also have endless opportunities through Appalachian State University, Caldwell Community College and Technical Institute, and Lees McRae to connect their students with your businesses in meaningful ways and also connect you with their classrooms to give real world experience. We look forward to doing more of that. And we also want to prioritize professional development opportunities within our own staff. We cannot serve you effectively if we are not investing in ourselves to make sure that we're bringing the best information to you that we possibly can. As we look at our community here finally, actively participate in the creation of a thriving, sustainable community in the High Country, remembering that community development is business development. You know, we talk a lot with families that are relocating here, businesses that wish to relocate here, and they talk first about what does your community have to offer? Now we're armed with so much great information to tell them. We've got a $60 million investment in a brand new community recreation center that our county put forward and our citizens will soon be able to enjoy. We have a high quality public school program here that serves as a great feeder into opportunities for post-secondary education. We've got a tremendous tremendous infrastructure set up here in this community for learning to go on from zero to doctoral work. And we want to make sure that we continue to push that out there. We also have a solid track record when it comes to low crime. We've got beautiful views. We've got all of the things that people want to see. Our job is to communicate those things so they know, while my business is developing here, I can also thrive here with my family and live in a community that I want to be in for the rest of my life. So we identify those opportunities through assisting some of our nonprofit members who are on the ground in a lot of those conversations, thinking about the Children's Council, Western Youth Network, Oasis, just to name a few of those organizations that we've done work with and we continue to work more with. Serve as the link between the business community and other essential partners, including education leaders, government, and health organizations. We want to make sure as we respond to this pandemic that you understand that the information that we get from App Healthcare is the best information for us. And we thank Jennifer Green and her entire team for their leadership during this time and keeping us safe and healthy throughout other challenges that we have seen as well, maybe those now becoming more magnified due to COVID-19. And finally, we want to maintain an active voice in community development conversations, including workforce development, affordable housing, and access to essential services. We have a great working relationship. I'm proud to serve on the Watauga County Economic Development Commission under Joe Furman's leadership and Walter Kadukla with Hospitality Mints. And we will continue to work as part of that group to assess those opportunities that are coming to us again and be ready to tell that story. We know we've got a role to play in that regard. So again, that's our strategic framework, as Dr. Street put it so elegantly, and hopefully what you will see now is a document that we will be using for the next several years to guide our work and to guide our mission through the Chamber to serve you more effectively. At this time, I would like to stop talking, and I'm going to turn it over to someone who we have heard quite a bit from here lately ourselves, and we are certainly glad to have one of our community's top flight leaders when we think about people that we want to have reach out to our students during Watauga Leadership Institute. This is one of the first phone calls we've made. We're glad he answered the call to be the leader of our Chamber board for this year, and we're excited to hear what he's got to say tonight. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Scott Elliott, our incoming chair.
Thank you so much, David. I just want to add my thanks to the comments that David and Jason made earlier about David and the incredible staff of the Chamber of Commerce and throughout these last few months just continually reimagining and reinventing the important events like this so that we can continue to be together as a Chamber community to celebrate our work and to continue to focus on all of the many things that are so important and so wonderful about our community. I want to say thank you to Jason and to First Horizon and to all of the sponsors for this event. And I want to thank you, the membership of the Chamber, for joining us in this very different and special way for this annual event. It's so important that we continue to be together, to celebrate together, and to reinforce those relationships, as David just reminded us, all throughout our work together. I want to also add my sincere thanks to David Still for his tremendous leadership of the board and of the Chamber's work during this past year. It's kind of hard to remember back before March, but there was so much that was happening in our community and with our Chamber and our board under David Still's leadership. He has navigated so many of the important changes, and as our Chamber, as a small business, has navigated some of the same challenges that any of our businesses have navigated in the community, while continuing to be an advocate on a wide range of issues in our community, including transportation, health and safety, housing, economic development, and the cultivation of leaders from all across our community, as David just mentioned with our Watauga Leadership Academy. So thank you to David Still and all of the members of the Board of Directors this past year for your leadership. It's greatly appreciated. I am so very proud to serve this year as the chairman of your Board of Directors, and it is an honor for me to get to welcome two new members to our Board of Directors this year. As small business owners and entrepreneurs, these business leaders represent two very important areas and aspects of our community. So please join me in welcoming Todd Hindley from Ransom Pub and Event Center and James Kevin White from Kevin's Cuts as our new Board of Director members. Congratulations to them. But also please join me in thanking all of the members of our Board of Directors. You can see their many names here, and you can see that that our board is made up of many leaders from all across our community, representing many different businesses, the educational, entrepreneurial, and nonprofit sectors that make up the vibrant tapestry of our community and this place we call home. So thank you to all of these members of our board of directors. As David Jackson so thoroughly discussed with us just moments ago, your chamber is more focused now than ever on providing the best possible service to our members while cultivating the highest quality of life for everyone in our community. Really, that is what we as a chamber are all about. While the chamber's excellent professional staff and the team of directors will lead the implementation of this strategic framework, I would like to ask each of you to think about how you can personalize and take ownership of these strategic priorities in your own lives, in your businesses, and in your areas of influence. What can you do? What can I do? What can we do to personalize this and contribute to those operational priorities, to the operational excellence of our chamber, to advocacy, to connections, to education, and to the focus on community? And as David said so many times, the importance of relationships and making it all possible. So let's do this work together, not just in the context of the organization of the chamber, but throughout our collective influence and leadership. The thoughtful and relevant work of the strategic plan, in a way, is a framework for our work all throughout the community. In this coming year, no doubt we'll continue to face challenges, but let's don't forget the many blessings and wonderful aspects of our community. We'll work together to continue our emphasis on growing and supporting a vibrant and healthy community. I'm very proud, as was mentioned earlier, of the Keep Boone Healthy initiative to keep our community informed, to highlight the important work of leaders and organizations doing so many incredible things all across our community, and to continue to shine a light on the very many silver linings, the new opportunities, the stories of strength and resilience, and the reminders of the wonders and beauty that make our community so special. As I often like to say, our community is an ecosystem. We are interconnected. We're interdependent. And we are at our best when we are all working together for the betterment of everyone around us. And in a nutshell, that is our chamber. So I invite you to step into this work, to lead from your area of influence, to keep smiling, to keep sharing kindness with one another, and to do what you can to keep Boone healthy. Thank you.
So a few comments to close about our direction moving forward. Let me move Dr. Elliott's manual here, and we'll continue along. I do realize that, we're in this virtual world, right? And I keep telling you to join with me in welcoming people. I have no way to know whether you're clapping or not, so I'm going to take it at your word and your nod through your connected device that you are. So thank you for that. All right, let's talk about our plan of action moving ahead. I refer back to the mission statement because it's going to come back all to connect, advocate, educate, all right? And that's how we're going to break this down here tonight. First of all, through our connections. We talked about the rollout of information and the copious amounts of information that we have brought forward to you since about March 11th or so, as we have gotten more information about state and local plans, financial recovery, everything under the sun. We have tried to organize and send out through our nightly chamber reports and other pieces of information. All of that information is housed at this site on our page. It is boonechamber.com/recovery and relaunch. And you'll find everything from small business operation information, the financial resources, the state and local legislation, local supply chain issues if you need help getting access to PPE, hand sanitizer, anything along those lines. And then, of course, links to Keep Boone Healthy and some of our multimedia resources as well. This is a clearinghouse of information that is constantly updated. This is where our restaurants and retail page lives as well. So you can stay up to date as we are in phase 2 to for 5 more weeks. You can stay up to date on the operational plans of our restaurants and our businesses. So when you make those local purchase decisions, you're making them with businesses that are quite honestly operational and functioning in a way that they can take your business. Another way that we've really accentuated the communication is through a variety of channels. And this was a big thing that we carried over from the strategic plan action of looking at new ways, not just the chamber emails, but looking at new ways to connect with you. So over the course of the last several years, we have revamped boonechamber.com. Hopefully you have had a chance to look at that and understand all of its functionalities. I can tell you that since March 11th, again, that's kind of that line in the sand that we draw, our users of our website from the previous date range of last year, or of the last year rather, up over 195%. New users up 202%, and page views up nearly 100%. That is completely expected based on the times that we are in. We want to make sure, though, that while those eyes are on our site and looking at our material, that they are getting hooked on the great things that are involved in our business community and our work to bring you all to the forefront of a lot of those conversations. That restaurant and retail page, that was the creation of that list, led to the single greatest day of traffic on boonechamber.com. Over 8,000 unique visitors went to our site the day that page went live. We have had over 11,820 unique page views to that site. So those 8,000 people kept coming back, and they brought some of their friends as well. We look at constant contact, another area that you have seen quite a bit of us. Our open rates are about 37%. That's 20% better than the industry average and about 6% better than they were a year ago. Our click rates on those emails, 15%. That's 6% above the industry average. We have distributed 157 emails over the last 146 days. 93 of those alone were chamber reports. And Katie Green sent every one of them out. And I want to thank her for all of her work in making that a vehicle that we could get timely information to you in a way that you could digest it, not just having to read everything, but the interaction with the videos and different links that we put on there hopefully made that process easier. We're going to continue to do that as long as there is information to share. And we know that some of those emails will continue to be the lifeline for how your business will be able to pivot through these times. Looking at our Facebook page, we went from 3,666 likes to a little over 4,000, a net of 355 since March 11th. We see constant increases in our reach and engagement as we continue to share information about our business community. The Keep Boone Healthy information channel was born, and really Keep Boone Healthy in itself was born in a way, and I've got to tell a quick story here, thanks to Dr. Scott Elliott. I remember one night about the 9th or 10th of March, somewhere in there. It was right before schools were closed for the remainder, or what ended up being the remainder of the year. And I remember listening to a report on the news about how bad this was going to be, and really started to sink in, wow, this is going to be a community-defining moment for not only our community moving forward, but for the Chamber's response. What were we going to do? How could we reach people? So I was sitting in the Food Lion parking lot out in Deep Gap, and I called Dr. Elliott on the phone, and I said, hey, you're an idea guy. What do you think? We've got to really start putting our head together on how we're going to position ourselves to get all of this information out, because it's going to come. It's already coming, and it's coming in waves. And he was able to talk with us for a few minutes, and we engaged some others in that conversation. And through that, he told a story about a story he'd heard on NPR very recently about the city of Austin, Texas, having to pivot themselves around losing South by Southwest, and what they were doing as a city to promote some of the things that they had going on that would generate local interest and keep the locals engaged. And that's where Keep Boone Healthy came from. We had a conversation in a parking lot of a grocery store, and that led to something that brought an information page that has over 1,000 active viewers on it nightly, and constant threads of information that go into that. A new podcast series that's been launched with that, a community branding initiative that's not going anywhere. That's what the Chamber is all about, finding leaders within our community that can have a conversation that can spark the next big thing. So thanks to Dr. Elliott for that little hint of vision that got our team off and running on something that we are certainly very proud of in terms of our outreach. I mentioned the podcast. We've continued to operate Mind Your Business. We've continued to operate our Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Vimeo channels, but we've also added that Keep Boone Healthy podcast in there as well. Another way to connect with people where they are. Not everybody can watch YouTube. Not everybody can read websites. Sometimes you just need a podcast to take you through that 105 traffic. And we've created that vehicle for you, and hopefully that is something that you're able to get to. We also know, too, that we need to pivot our chamber events moving forward. So we were able to partner with the Appalachian Theater earlier this year to create a virtual fundraiser as a fundraiser for the Re-Energize Watauga Fund. We've done the virtual grand openings like you see there at Blue Deer. We have found ways to bring the 3 W's into community icons and make sure that those things are ingrained in your heads, because we know that we can prevent the spread and help our community get back on its feet by just doing those simple things that App Healthcare has been telling us to do back since the start of March. As we advocate, I throw you back to the vision statement, because we want to make sure we are a catalyst for a diverse and engaged local economy. How we will do that will refer right back to the strategic plan. That is going to be our guide and advocacy as we move forward. And it is so helpful to us to have that to use as kind of that guiding light, so to speak, to make sure that we are connecting with you in all the ways that we can. You remember this guy, this crazy guy that we had at the annual meeting last year. His name is Andrew Davis. He talked about everything being the best everything in the world. We had a great conversation with him immediately following the annual meeting. We've had working groups working for about 5 months, dissecting all of his conversation about staking a claim. And then COVID hit, and we had to obviously put some of those things on hold. We will re-energize our stake the claim conversation and utilize the vehicle that is Vision Northwest North Carolina to bring people back around on the thought that as we rebuild and reload our economy, outdoor economy could be the thing that we can latch onto as a region and really position Northwest North Carolina well when people are used to getting out and traveling again and they're looking for a destination. We've got through manufacturing, through some of our long-time recognizable brands like Misty Mountain Threadworks and Mass General Store. We've got endless opportunities for people to engage in our outdoors. We can stake a claim that Northwest North Carolina is the home of outdoor activity in the state, in the region, in the country, whatever we want to do. We're going to continue to lead that conversation in a way that we can get some good positive points coming out of that in looking at our regional growth moving forward. And then we want to help our nonprofit business community remain vibrant and visible. This is incredibly important because we know that a lot of these organizations have been frontline workers in the COVID response. We want to make sure that in years where their fundraising has taken a severe dip because of not being able to have some of those staple events that we're all used to going to and attending every year, but they're also seeing some of their government subsidies take a dive as well. So we want to make sure that we are keeping these organizations visible to you, to make sure that we understand what it is they're doing and the services that they're providing, because those nonprofit businesses contribute tens of millions of dollars into our economy in the jobs that they provide, in the services that they utilize our for-profit businesses for, buying supplies from places like New River Building Supply or Stick Boy Kitchen. They are keeping money moving through our economy. We let our nonprofit sector drift too far down, we're going to all feel the weight of that. So we're going to continue to work with Elevate Watauga. That is the new initiative brought forward to really put some emphasis behind early childhood development. We look at that as a long-term strategy in terms of community and business development. The Watauga Compassionate Community Initiative, WCCI, as we all know it here, their work is incredibly important now, especially as we talk about the mental struggles that people have gone through with all of the change to our daily routines. And then programs addressing food insecurity, and again, those that are impacting frontline service providers and making sure that groups like Oasis, Western Youth Network, and some of those fine organizations that are out there every day helping people get access to resources are able to stay open and stay distributing those resources. This is also, in case you weren't aware, an election year. What we want to make sure we are doing is bringing ideas and concerns of the business community directly to those candidates. I mentioned that earlier in our advocacy conversation in the strategic framework. We also want to continue efforts to distribute public health information while leading thoughtful discussions on the economic realities of what we are facing. We understand that the public health aspect of COVID-19 is the most important thing that we can focus on. But there are also economic ramifications that will set trends in our communities for perhaps decades to come that we can't hide our head in the sand about. We need to talk about those, and the Chamber is committed to leading those important conversations. As we look at opportunities to educate, I want to educate you a little bit about our office setup, all right? So this is our crew thanking all of you for your tremendous support of Keep Boone Healthy. We have seen each other like this almost exclusively since the end of March. We are going to continue operating in a virtual way. And I will also encourage other businesses, if you have the opportunity to allow your employees to continue to work virtually, especially those with small families, school-age children that may be balancing new schedules as we return to the classroom, I highly encourage you to work with your staff. As our good friends at Blue Ridge Electric pointed out to us a few weeks ago in a panel, you don't want to lose the talent that you have spent so long to cultivate and invest in and create operational efficiencies that make your business work. One of the easy ways to make sure that you keep that talent is to be flexible with them. That's what we've done in our office. So we are working with one person in the office per day. We're going to operate like this for the foreseeable future because number one, we know that we can do the work remotely. And number two, it's important to us to make sure that our staff members that are in more at-risk groupings for COVID and those with small families are staying as protected as possible during this time. And we can't keep Boone healthy if we're not healthy ourselves. So that's what we're going to do from an operational standpoint. Want to also educate you a little bit on our budget. I touched on this a moment ago. Our revenue projection for the coming year is about $404,000. We project an expense of right under $400,000. That's 15% down in both categories from, down from revenue and up in expense from where we were a year ago. We understand that our budget is a moving target. So we're going to continue to look at that daily to make sure that the organization is healthy. But we also need your support more than ever. Those of you businesses out there that have maybe benefited from some of the things that we have been able to bring to the community in the last 5 months, a great way to thank us is to show support by becoming a member and helping advocate for other businesses on what the values of those membership benefits are. We want to also continue to work with members on dues payments. We know it's not easy for everybody right now. So if you've got concerns about how you can continue your investment with us, call us and let us know. We'll be happy to work out plans with you. We do not want to deny anybody benefits at this point in time. And quite honestly, we won't. We want to make sure that we are connecting you with the resources that you need to be solvent and to grow as a business. And we'll work with you any way we can to do that. And then we also want to provide new sponsorship and event opportunities. There is going to come a time where we're all going to get together again, and it's going to get really busy really fast. I want you to keep that in your strategic mind as well, for those of you that rely on a lot of those events, to just think forward a little bit. We understand that we're in phase 2 for 5 more weeks. We want to see what happens when we get to phase 3 and we're able to return to more normal activities at whatever point that becomes. But also keep in mind that there are a lot of people that have been waiting for that line, and they're all going to try to cross it together. So if you've got event things that you would like to discuss with us, and maybe we can provide some advice, please do so. That's what we're here for. And maybe we can figure out a way together, too, that we can partner with an event that can benefit all of us. As we get ready to close things out on the education side, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Watauga Leadership Institute. We need leaders in our community to step up more than we ever have before. We just recognized on this stage a few weeks ago our 4 under 40 winners and are so grateful to have 16 incredibly high caliber finalists for what we chose as 4 ultimate winners, but all 16 of those folks are going to be involved in the leadership of our community moving forward. We need leadership now to help us through the times that we don't even understand yet how we're going to get through. Watauga Leadership Institute is a great catalyst for that, and as I mentioned earlier, we've got a lot of different ways to distribute that information to you. Together, we're going to thrive and survive. Whether it's showing your love by practicing the 3 W's, whether it's making sure that as a business you are encouraging people to be safe and creating safe space for them to be in your stores and operate within your businesses, or if it's just simply talking about keeping Boone healthy and working off the obvious double meaning there. We want to make sure that we are a healthy community. Heed the advice of App Healthcare and DHHS and all of the healthcare providers that we have in our community giving us that advice. The facts and the science that they are giving to us are metrics that we can help get our community in a place that we know that it needs to be by just simply practicing the 3 W's. Wear your mask, wait 6 feet from others, and wash your hands. But also, we want to make sure too that we are keeping our business community healthy. And that is, again, the constant encouragement. When you have the opportunity to make a local purchase decision and impact the dinner table of your neighbor next door by simply buying something local versus ordering it online or getting it from off the mountain, we highly encourage you to do so. Your local businesses are going to need you now more than they ever did before. You helped them through an incredible period of time in March. And the camaraderie that we noticed as a community from that is still something that's keeping us moving forward today. But we're not done yet. We understand that we're getting ready to move into the winter, and we're going to see an organizational shift in how we operate within our community. Don't forget your local small businesses that were there with you on Takeout Tuesdays. They were finding ways to get their products to you. Continue to patronize them as best you can. Continue to reach out to us too if there is anything that we can do to continue to connect our resources and our opportunities with your businesses. That's what we're here for. I want to end by thanking our entire staff, Wasiri White, certainly Katie Green, Susan Norris, Janine Collins, Rochelle Laney, Natalie Harkey, who has kept our business operation flowing during this whole entire time. In addition to COVID, I also had a hip replacement done in the middle of all of this, and they kept the show running from then. And then we've just been, I don't know that we've seen each other much since December, now that I come to think of it. But as you all know very well, in your business, your team drives the whole entire deal. They are the reason that you get to the office early. They're the reason that you stay a few minutes late. They're the reason you're successful. And the team that we have created at the Chamber, as well as the support that we have from our board of directors, is why we have been in a position to be able to deliver some of the information to you that we have been able to. I want to thank Brett and Lucas here at Harvest House for being a great host to us again. There is absolutely, I think there are 4 people visible to me right now in this room. We cannot wait to get in front of you again. We're going to do so when it's safe and responsible, and we're going to make sure that we're all healthy in the process. Continue to reach out to us. Thank you for all you're doing to keep Boone healthy, and thank you for indulging us with your time here and learning a little bit more about what's in store for the Chamber in the year ahead. Thank you very much.